How livid were you when that call was made?
How what?
How livid were you?
I mean, you get livid about a lot. I mean, you got to move on because you got the next play, you know.
But you knew right away that's.
Well,
yes,
that doesn't matter.
Greg, I feel like in the sport right now, like you just said, no matter what, if there's a hit that's that big, that a flag's going to come. Is there a balance that you can instill in your players that is play aggressively, but at the same time, I mean, you know what I mean? It's just.
I think it all comes back to the strike zone, you know, where you can tackle a guy. And if you just do that, you know, certain things. I say this to my sons, I say it to this team, see what you hit. If your eyes are up and you see what you hit, and you hit in the strike zone, you're not going to get a penalty. And they have instant replay to you know, make sure that if it was too fast for the naked eye that they can address it. So we just got to do a better job.
Do you have to say something to Denzel when he did all those things and he still was removed from the game?
Yeah, we just got to move on.
Greg, when you look at the way Nick Bosa is playing, he came in with a lot of hype, and he seems to be really living up to that now. When you watch him play, what do you see? Has it been better than what you guys envisioned, or how would you evaluate the way he's come on?
He's playing very well. Yeah, I think our expectation level is very high for him. Number one, he's an incredible athlete in his own right. Number two, he's following his brother, who was an incredible player. So I think the expectation level is high, and I think he's fulfilling them. And, you know, we just keep challenging around here. If it's going well, enhance it. Just keep making it better. And that's the challenge to Nick right now is, you know, how good can he get? That's what we challenge him to do.
Does a coach ever think what his stats might look like if he got to play more than like 20 reps a game?
Yes and no. I mean, I think, you know, when you're winning by that much, we're not going to risk injury, right? Early in the season, we didn't all like that we played 90-something plays in that first game. So let's find a happy medium.
Greg, you look at the film.
Happy with where they're at midway through the regular season, the linebacking core?
As a coach, you're never pleased, right? You want to get better. Are we getting better? Yeah. Not fast enough for any of us, including them. But they are getting better. And as long as we can continue to do that and get better and better and better, you know, it's we'll get pretty good by the end of the year.
What are some areas they need to improve at?
Oh, it's our whole team. It's not just the linebackers. It's details of fitting the runs, details in our pass, going consistently at the highest possible level we can. Those are things that is a challenge for our whole team.
Hey, Greg, so many of your opponents this year are teams that are going from a 4-3 defense to a 3-4. As a defensive coordinator, I know it's not your scheme, but is that where the college game is headed for some reason? Or is that just coincidence?
Yeah, I think it's preference. You know, I think there's still a lot of people that are playing hybrid type defenses, you know, so I think football's I think everything is. It's a game, it goes in cycles. And everything repeats itself. And it may repeat itself in a little different form. You know, all this gun run and RPO, all that stuff was done 50 years ago. It was called something different.
So many of your players have said there's been something different about practice the past couple weeks. Have you seen a little extra in workouts? And if so, what was the switch that was flipped?
Well, I think the Oklahoma game kind of flipped a lot of switches. And you know what? We know now, I think our whole organization understands we can only control one thing, and that's how hard we work. And if that's going to be good enough at the end, that's going to be good enough. And if it isn't, well, then you know what? You live with no regret. And that's kind of what we're trying to do as a football team and as a defense is leave it out there on the field and see where that stacks up at the end of the year.
Greg, when you look at their number 22, the running back, Ozigbo,
yes.
I pronounce it. I mean, he runs well. What just jumps out at you about him? I think he's had 3 straight 100-yard games, and you see him sort of like getting some confidence going.
Very hard to get down. You know, he has a lot of yards after contact. He's a built guy.
Yeah.
And he runs. You know, they have a scheme that's designed for a back like him.
Yeah.
And I think they're confident in what they're doing. So we really going to have to. What happens is in those kind of offenses, what might be a 1 or 2 or 3 yard gain in the first quarter, if the game is close and they're able to keep running and running and running, those turn into 5 or 6 yard gains if you don't really muster it up. So it's going to be a challenge. A little different kind of football this week.
As you've watched, I know you don't watch a continual loop of play, but like their quarterback, Tanner Lee, seemed to be throwing some ball up for grabs early, at least this year, and according to their guys out there and stuff. But do you see him playing a little more disciplined? What have you seen out of him? He's the the transfer kid from Tulane.
I know he is. Yeah, he's early on. Against Northern Illinois, he gave a few pick sixes there, a couple pick sixes, what it was. And,
Yeah.
He was under some duress, and I think as he's getting more experience, the hardest thing when you coach a quarterback is to let a bad play die and move on to the next play. And early on, it looked like he was struggling letting a bad play die. I think he's learning that more and more, and we're going to have to do something. They do a good job with their protections, so we're going to have to really work hard to affect the passer. Because if we don't, he's very fundamentally sound quarterback, and he's got a good arm.
I walked up here late, and you may have been asked this, but y'all have had 3 guys DQ'd in the last 2 games out of the secondary for hits. One of which, of course, the Big Ten said was a wrong call on Denzel Ward. But what are y'all reinforcing? What are y'all talking about in that realm this week as you prepare going forward?
Well, again, it's not just this week. It's something that we talk about constantly, and that is, number one, see what you hit. If you keep your eyes up and you see what you hit, that's the number 1 for safety, and number 2 for performance. The second thing is we have a strike zone that we talk about. You need to hit in that strike zone. Anything other than that, you can anticipate a penalty. And certainly in the last 7 or 8 years, they've really cracked down on that, and I think it's a good thing. I don't think the game's ever been more safe than it is today, and good thing we did that, right?
Yeah.
Or we'd have some big problems, and we just got to make sure that when it is called, they have a system in place for review, and I think the whole thing is a positive move for football. We just got to do it right.
It seems like the defensive line's really hit stride the last few weeks. Have you seen a lot of improvement in that group over the last few weeks?
I think they've had steady improvement. I don't think it's just the last few weeks. I think that group is the strength of our defense, and I think they've improved, really, as I remember since I arrived. I thought it was a really good group that Coach Johnson was really developing, and I think that development's continued.
Is Bosa coming along? I mean, do you see, just singling a guy out, he seems to be more and more a force. I mean, are you seeing that too? I know you guys play a bunch of guys in there, but is he really stepping up? Nick Bosa.
Yeah, he's a force, that's right. But I think, and I said earlier, our expectations are very high for Nick.
Yeah.
And he keeps meeting those expectations. So what do? We just keep raising them a little bit. And that's our really in everything we do here. Is if it's going well, enhance it, make it better. So, thanks, guys.